It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your hosts, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
What? Yeah. Hey, boys and girls, what is going on? 2023 is finally here for this Monday night of January 2nd, 2023. I have yet, since going into 2023, by the way, I have yet to say 2022. You know, most of us, when we go into the new year, we mess up from writing out, oh yeah, it's 2023, we're still writing the previous year, all of that. I have not done it yet, so we'll see how long this lasts. I'm hoping, usually within the first 2 weeks of the new calendar year, I usually mess up, but within recent years, I would say I've been on a hot streak for the past 2 years now. Let's see if I can make it 3 as a charm. But what's going on for this Monday night of January 2nd, 2023, covering all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. You're checking out the RCWR show. Lee Sanders with you guys. A clean-shaven Lee Sanders here with you guys. What do you think? I mean, depending on how long you've been checking out the show, I have pushed some type of facial hair for, my God, years upon years upon years. And it was funny because I was talking to wifey and I said, hey, what do you think? What do you think? I know you haven't seen under the hood in a while. It's what, maybe... And I'm thinking about the entire time that me and her have been together. And I said to her, okay, I think for sure you've seen me clean shaven at least 3 times. And she goes, no, I think maybe 4 times. I'm like, you sure? Yeah, I'm almost certain 4. Yeah, 3, but I'm almost certain 4 times. So I'm looking at that. I'm going, okay, so as long as we've been together, me and her have been together now almost 12 years. It's okay, 4 times in that entire time span? That's pretty damn good. So she looked at my face when I first shaved it all off, and she said, I don't know. I think it's going to take me a while to get used to it. Ask me again in a couple of days. I said, okay, all right, fine. So followed up with her in a couple of days, and she said, yeah, you know what? I like you more with some type of facial hair on you, man. I like you with some type of facial hair. I don't think I could get used to this. No. My dog, on the other hand, Chloe, my little terrier. Oh, she loves my face. She's been just licking my face up big time. She loves it. So, yeah, at least one of the women in the Sanders household loves the clean-shaven face. But no, and then what really sealed the deal for me, I just wanted to do something fresh, new year. I just had a birthday, and I was feeling a little bit run down. I was feeling a little bit haggard. And I just said, I need something fresh, something that just makes me feel kind of more lively and everything. And so I just decided to do it. And I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I may grow it back before the year is out. But if you've been checking out the show for so many years now, I mean, we began webcasting in 2011, y'all. 2011, we began webcasting. I've always had facial hair, some form of facial hair, whether a mustache, a handlebar mustache, a goatee. I've always had something going on and everything. So, and yes, to Kadeem in the chat there. Yes, when I say we cover all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011, yes, definitely to Kadeem's point in the chat. Big prayers up indeed to one Damar Hamlin. I got to tell you guys, that was so weird watching it go down in real time. And at one point, I was honestly flipping back and forth between the Monday Night Football game and WWE Raw. And I decided, okay, let me just stay with Monday Night Raw for a little bit. And then as I'm watching Raw, I'm just doing my thing on the phone. I'm just checking out social trends, seeing what people are saying about particular segments on Raw and everything. And then all of a sudden, I see the hashtag, what was it? Prayers to God, praying to God. You guys that got Twitter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But there was something along those lines, and it's like, what the hell does that mean? I click on it, I see what's going on, and I say to my wife, you know, because she's right there with me, I'm going, oh no, and she's like, what? Something's going down with the Monday Night Football game. Yeah, I just glanced. What's going on? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to piece it all together. And so I go back on the DVR and I rewind to see what's going on. And I see, now for those of you that do not follow the NFL, and forgive me if you're hearing this for the first time, and I think me and everybody else that saw what went down, whether it be in real time or we went out of our way to see the footage in question, I think collectively we all will tell you that did not see this. This is footage that you honestly do not want to go out of your way to see, because it's pretty disheartening. It's very numbing. It's you will just get into a deep state of depression. Seriously, your whole zone will just be all messed up. But in the first quarter, I'm not going to even go over the specific logistics about who scored what, but I know it was at least 3-7. I don't know whose way it was, who did what, but it was the first quarter. You still had a decent amount of time left in the first quarter. The game was probably on for maybe about 15 minutes total in real time. Yeah, you had commercials, yada, 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 but at least 15 minutes this game was on. And it was the Bills taking on the Bengals. And for the Bills, safety player, 24-year-old Damar Hamlin. You know, it's weird when you're watching it in real time. You know, he's going in, he's pursuing his man or whatever, and doing this little ground tackle takedown or whatever. Seemed like there was a little bit of collision. You're like, ooh, sounded like some helmets clashed there. And you're going, okay, nothing. All right, everybody should be able to get up. And you see Damar Hamlin, about 3 second of a delay, he's getting up, but he stands up on his own 2 feet. You're like, oh, okay, cool. And then the next thing you know, you watch this kid just collapse on the ground. And you're going, yo, what the hell is going on here? And you know, automatically, you know, if you're a longtime football fan and all that, you're like, oh, man, that don't look good. Oh, shit, concussion protocol. They're probably just going to wheel out a stretcher and, you know, put him on it, give him some tests, and would imagine that before the end of the first half, we're probably going to hear that his return is questionable, whatever. And so they take a commercial break, Joe Buck and them, they come right back, and the situation from what we last saw to when we come back, it just got even worse. And you're just going, wait, what just happened? Because we just saw the play and wait, what, huh? And it was just watching the Bills players and the Bengals players surround Damar Hamlin. The way that they just gathered around this man and were basically trying to shield. I mean, they literally were a human shield for this young man, as paramedics apparently were working on this kid. For 9 minutes, they were trying to give this kid CPR. For 9 freaking minutes, ambulance truck was out there on the field. And there was just this human shield, and they all were just around him as the paramedics were trying to do their best to do their thing. Just hearing how nauseating Joe Buck was. You could tell Joe Buck was disgusted. Yeah, Joe Buck just, hey, there's not much to say here. You could tell Joe Buck, what Joe Buck really wanted to say was, look, this game don't even matter right now. I don't even know why we're even doing this. Like, seriously, there's some important stuff going on here. Joe Buck not really sure what to say, but you could hear the tone in his voice. Troy Aikman, pretty silent. Joe tried to go to Troy a couple of times, but Joe was just completely. Yeah, how do you condition yourself? What is there really to say? Lisa Salters, fantastic job. She did her very best, but under the circumstances, even she was rattled. And for those of us that's been watching her career for such a long period of time, even we were able to notice with her, watching her long enough, okay, even she's coming off rattled and she's pretty much seeing it all. We don't see her report at all because remember, she double dips. She does NFL and she does basketball. So for her to, I mean, she handled it with great calm, but you could tell even she was rattled and everything. But yeah, they operated on this young man for 9 minutes, giving him CPR. And they finally loaded him up on the ambulance. They took him to the nearest hospital. His mom did ride the ambulance with him. Last I heard, which was because I was sharing my reaction to the news on Twitter and also on Facebook, and I was providing updates, particularly on Facebook, in a
wrestling suit.
No, we ain't doing that one. I was posting updates on Facebook. Hang on here. And the last update I did was, let me see here. I think the last update I posted was at 10:53 p.m. where I had talked about how his condition, it's still critical. So if anybody wants to add on to that, anything new, feel free to go on ahead. But the last update that I have is that he is in critical condition. And on top of that, the game itself, that game ultimately, it was weird watching what was going on with the game because initially, you're seeing the coaches from both teams. They're talking and it's like, okay, so where are we going here? How is this going to play out exactly? And, you could kind of tell looking at the coaches that they really were not in the zone to be doing this and all that. And then you're looking at the players, young men, grown men crying, just bawling their eyes out from both teams. Players on their knees praying to the heavens above for this young man to have some type of a recovery, hoping that they get some type of good news about this man and everything. And you're seeing this in real time. You're just automatically saying to yourself, yeah, man, you know what? There is just no way, no how that this game is going to resume. Don't care how long of a freaking break you take to get analysis, takeaways, and all opinions and all of that. I don't care how many segments you want to do of that. There's no way you're going to tell those men and women that, okay, this game is going to resume. Maybe you can for the staff, but the players themselves, there's no way that those men are going to go out there and play that game. And sure enough, I want to say, guys, maybe at about 10:15, they made the call and they said, yeah, you know what, this game, it's postponed. And that was the right thing to do. And that actually came several minutes after the NFL, not executives, but basically, how all plays, rules, regulations, and all that is reviewed by, I think, the main headquarters up in Connecticut or whatever. They basically stepped in right before ultimately the game got canceled, and they said, okay, look, let's just have everybody for both teams just depart the field, get away from the cameras, collect themselves in the locker room, take as much time as they need to really think this out. And then if they really want to continue on with the game, then so be it. They can go ahead and they can continue it on and everything. But let's just get everybody off the field and everything. The fans, by the way, that were there in attendance, man, you could hear a pin drop. Not really sure what was going on, but they knew that, man, something bad is going on here. This does not look right. This does not feel right. Just totally going with the motions. A very good pro crowd. I love that crowd. They were very respectful to what all was happening on that field. Very understanding what was going on. No heckling, no boos, no jeers. None of that was going on. So to all of you all that were in attendance at that game, really, I love the way you all conducted yourself. I wish that could be widespread, that respect level, but that it doesn't have to come at a cost of what we saw play out tonight before our very eyes and everything. But yeah, the main office there for NFL, they basically stepped in, take all the time you need, and then ultimately it was just decided amongst both respected clubs, yeah, we ain't doing this game. So game's postponed. As far as if the game is going to happen later this week, maybe going into the weekend, all that is honestly up in the air right now. Who gives a flying you know what? Because honestly, when it's all said and done, the main thing that's important right now is that that young man has some type of a recovery. Whatever is going on, get out of that critical condition status and make his way to a stable condition and get out of that, kick out of that. And I mean, look, 24 years old. So this young man in Damar Hamlin still scratching the surface and ultimately what he wants to, for his career and everything. He knows he wants to be a pro in the NFL, but, he's still chipping away. He hasn't quite reached the pinnacle of his life yet, right? So 24 years old. Just go back, for those of you that are older, you remember what it was like when you were 24. And what I was researching about this young man, he played for the University of Pittsburgh, college football, and he played a few games as a freshman before he had suffered an injury, and he got redshirted as a result. And then from there, I mean, you look at what he was able to record after being redshirted. My man had recorded 41 tackles, 1 interception, in 9 games that he had played, and then he led the Panthers with 90 tackles and 2 interceptions as a redshirt sophomore, and was named honorable mention for the All-Atlantic Coast Conference, the ACC. He had 84 tackles, 10 passes, broken up a redshirt junior, was named a team captain going into his final season. So I mean, he was definitely going places. He just got drafted to the Buffalo Bills earlier this year. He was like the 212th overall pick, basically. And he did not get activated until week 2, if I'm not mistaken, for the Bills, because there was an injury that had went down. Their starting safety, Micah Hyde, he had suffered a season-long injury, neck injury in week 2, and pretty much Hamlin had been activated ever since. He signed a 4-year, Hamlin that is, he signed a 4-year rookie deal with the Buffalo Bills from, last year when he got drafted and all that. So, this was, man, it doesn't get any better than this, right? It's like you're playing for the Bills, right? You're getting the opportunity to slide into first string team, and you're making your presence felt. You're making an impact. A lot of good praise was being given to this young man, and then here you are in a rare appearance where your team and all that, you're playing in a game that is pretty pivotal because it has to do with the rankings and everything, because we're getting ready to go into the playoffs and all that, right? It's all about clinching a division and widening that gap, all that good stuff. So it wasn't like this was a throwaway game. This was a game, even though it's like, okay, this is the season finale of what is it, week 17, week 18 or whatever. You're going, no, this game is very, very valuable here. There's a lot at stake right here, and it's in prime time. Way to make the entire world know who the fuck you are and everything.
And for this to happen, just, oh my God, just very devastating, very unfortunate. Seriously, thoughts, prayers, condolences to that young man, his family. I agree with Kelton's comments there in the chat. Kelton saying, man, yeah, that was scary. And it was. It was definitely, definitely scary. 2023, can we admit so far? 2023 is off to a very rocky start, is it not? Ooh, it is off to a rocky start. I'm not really feeling that. So we had this go down with Damar Hamlin. And then let's not also forget going into the new year, there were a boatload of people that we had lost. I mean, my God, we lost Don West. Oh, I know Don West was given a few awards for worst wrestling commentator, announcer, or whatever. But for me, I fucking loved Don West. I thought the world of Don West. We lost Don West this past Friday as we were going into New Year's weekend. So that was pretty rough. And sadly, his passing, that got overshadowed real quick, did it not, y'all? That got overshadowed real quick. Well, I'll explain more in a hot second, but Don West passing lost his battle to lymphoma. And remember, he was diagnosed with lymphoma last year. Mike Tenay had broke the news Friday afternoon on his social media pages and all that. And I remember when I had saw that, I just couldn't help but go, oh, that is so sad. That is so heartbreaking, especially considering, and most people didn't bring this up from those that were interacting and everything, reacting to the news and all. But what was most, that's Don West. Somehow a photo was shared of him. I don't know if it was from Don directly or he had gave somebody permission to, yeah, you could go ahead, you could share that image. But if you guys recall, those of you that got your social media and all that, there was an image that was floating around of Don West. He had a bald head, he had his goatee, still recognizable. He still had the heftiness in his face, just everything that you last remembered about Don West. It was still Don West. He just didn't have hair anymore. And he had the biggest smile on his face. And you're going, well, man, yeah, maybe he's going to kick out of this after all. Okay, cool. And unfortunately, this battle was one he was not able to kick out of. No children, from what I was able to gather up and first hearing the announcement of his passing going into the weekend and all that. To my knowledge, no children. Just leaves behind his wife Terry of over 30 years, and you're just going, oh man, that's just rough. And I remember seeing Don West way before he even came on board with TNA. I remember seeing Don West appear on the Shop at Home network, and I know it's so crazy to believe in 2023 and beyond. But there was a time, believe it or not, where you could turn on the television and you would see these live shows. I mean, QVC, they're still around. HSN, they're still around. You got the Cuttery Network, or as I like to call it, the Knife Channel. They're still around, and they still do relatively good. The QVC network, they're still around, last I had checked and everything. But back in the 90s, early 2000s particularly, it was an entirely different beast back then because you had a lot of stay-at-home mothers. You also had those that, were in college and maybe they were still living at home with their parents, or maybe they were in some type of a roommate environment situation, but in either case they would be home during the afternoons, early evenings. And so these companies that I'm talking about, they made a big bulk of their money off of those that were at home, okay? And business was booming back then. Business was freaking booming back then. It's probably funny and really strange to hear that, But that's how it was back then. And Don West, it's so funny because initially when he tried to get a job with the Shop at Home network, they rejected him because they did not like his voice. They felt that his voice was too graspy. They felt it was too raspy for what they were trying to do and everything. And so eventually he went and he was selling knives. I don't know if he was selling knives for that one network that's been around for the longest, where you see all types of messed up things happen to people. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I can't think of my man's name, but you have this one guy. Now his hair is, I think now his hair is gray and his mustache is gray. But back in the day, he had a black mustache, black hair. All right, so I'm going to tell you what we're going to do for y'all right now. I got this nice green dragon emerald bow and knife, set of 25. I'm going to make you a special deal right now. You call right now. I'm going to give you this whole set, 90 pieces, for just $25. You can't beat that, folks. Y'all need to call right now. And you're like, oh, man, oh, fuck, that's a good-ass deal, man. Oh, I got it. And, you know, it turns out, you know, some of them joints were some shit. I know from personal experience because I had friends that would order some of that shit because that network, they used to offer katana knives and all kinds of cool shit and all that. But, yeah, Don West went and he was doing that for a hot little bit. And then eventually the Shop at Home network came around. Okay, come on, let's do it. And when you look at those years where he was active for them for almost somewhere between 7 to 8 years, I mean, when Don West came on board, they basically went from like doing $1, $2, $3 million to doing $150 something million. And a large part of that was just how good of a strong hustle, spokesmanship and all that, salesmanship, swag, the whole 9 yards that Don West was able to put into that joint. And you're just like, wow, that's a gift. That is seriously a freaking gift. And Don West could definitely sell. You know, a lot of times I used to find myself watching certain infomercials or QVC, Shop at Home network. You know, I would find certain personalities that I would latch on to, and when I couldn't find anything on TV, you know, I would just leave it on them and I would watch these people. And Don West was definitely one of those people. I know a lot of you guys remember when Don West was selling the baseball cards and all of that, and it was cool. He actually was supposed to come in before TNA. He actually was supposed to work for WCW. The offer was made. As a matter of fact, I think it was Vince Russo that reached out to Don West, and ultimately he said, nah, that's okay. And then less than a year later, WCW had went out of business. Jeff Jarrett, who remembered Don West, and he pretty much was introduced to Don through Vince Russo when Jarrett started up TNA. What was that, 2002? He reached out to Don and was like, yo, I think you'd be really great over here. What's up? Won't you come on over here? And Don West had pretty much did that. He went over and the rest was pretty much history and everything. And the one thing that I liked about Don West, you know, that Don West, Mike Tenay combination, I fucking loved it. That was one of my favorite underrated commentary teams. It sincerely was. I'm not just saying that because Don West is now deceased. Anybody that at least remembers my weekly Impact Showdown series from back in the day, covering all things TNA Impact Wrestling, I always sung the praises of Don West, Mike Tenay, contrary to how some people might have felt about those guys, particularly Don West. And for me, they were underrated. They just gelled so well. You've got Mike Tenay literally living up to the moniker of the professor, that is breaking down the wrestler that you're seeing before your very eyes, letting you know why you need to give a damn about this wrestler, giving you the context, giving you the background information and everything. He's not, he's not going the Excalibur route. No shade to Excalibur. Everybody has their own unique style, what makes them stand out, and they've got that respected following that enjoys that and everything. But Mike Tenay wasn't one of those type of color commentators that was breaking down moves left and right and all of this. He was giving you the full context. He was letting you know who these people were, what they were about, trying to bring you in emotional context, as I like to say on the show from time to time, luring you in with, okay, here's what's been happening with this respective story. Here's how we got to here. And Don West, to sum Don West up perfectly, Don West was basically us. He literally was us. He was the wrestling fan that was just, oh my God, can you believe that? What did we just watch? He's literally just this big kid. It's funny. I saw a meme over the weekend. I saw a meme where Leonardo DiCaprio from the Quentin Tarantino movie, the Django Unchained. He showed him he's drinking a little liquor, and the one image, it's nice. It's him. It's nice and slim and young and everything. And there's this funny ass caption, and it reads something along the lines of, "15-year-old me watching wrestling." And you got Leonardo DiCaprio. He's holding up the little beverage, and he's got this face like he's laughing his ass off. He's like, ha 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 ha. And then right up under it, it's Leonardo DiCaprio's face blown up. And he's packing some serious pounds in his face, okay? And the caption right above it is 35-year-old me watching wrestling. And I think that summed up Don West perfectly, does it not? When you really stop and think about it and everything. And yeah, Don West was so fucking cool. Don West knew how to fucking set whatever was playing on the TV. Don West knew how to freaking sell. And some of his greatest examples of that, when you go back and you look at when Samoa Joe had arrived, Kurt Angle, those were definitely some awesome moments right there. And they had hit money with that combination. It was a really good combination. And then, maybe Mike Tenay could answer this, or maybe possibly Jeff Jarrett or Jim Cornette. Maybe one of these guys can answer, because I think it would be a really good question. But I never did understand why they had decided to pull Don West away from commentary. Was that a situation where Don West was ready to move on? He wanted to do some other stuff? Because everybody remembers the infamous Don West turning heel moment of Impact Wrestling, and he just chewed into freaking Mike Tenay, And I got to admit, as big of a fan as I was of that pairing, I have to admit to you guys, and I don't know if I've ever said this on air before the record, let the record officially show, I was never a fan of when Don West went heel on Mike Tenay. I was not a fan of it whatsoever. I felt that, honestly, it was too distracting. I thought it was causing such a big distraction in a way where it was taking away from the main story arcs that was going on for that week's Impact Wrestling. I didn't care about some beef that was going on between the two commentators. That didn't intrigue me. That didn't excite me. Like, I sure as hell wasn't interested in seeing these two guys get in a ring and beat the crap out of each other. What, were we maybe going to go in a direction where Mike Tenay was going to pick somebody to represent him, and Don West was going to pick somebody to represent him, and that's how maybe we were... Like, I would just like to know what the hell the whole thought process was and doing that and all. Because remember, shortly after that went down, you're going, oh, wow, I guess we're going to be seeing a lot of interesting things happen with a heel Don West going forward here, right? And then Don West, he returns after a couple of weeks or whatever. Wasn't that long. He comes back. He's the manager for Amazing Red, and now he's a babyface. And you're going, well, what the fuck happened between that? That totally went unresolved. It's like it was abandoned completely and everything. And Don West was pretty much put in charge of the marketing, and everybody remembers those insane Don West deals. Awesome goodie bags, man. He'd be putting up new DVDs every single week, giving them to you for ridiculously low freaking prices, brand new stuff, t-shirts, whole 9 yards, all of that. Eventually he left Impact Wrestling slash TNA. I don't know what he was doing after that. I think he had some type of digital marketing or some type of a marketing job after that. I think it was sports related. It might have been. I'll have to rely on you guys to jog my memory a little bit because I'm just going offhand here from what I can recall over the years. Maybe it was a hockey team or something he was doing marketing for. But then, he came back to Impact Wrestling. What was that? 2016, I think it was 2016 or 2017. He came back to TNA slash Impact Wrestling, and he was doing the marketing thing once again. And I remember that period because Don West, he's like, "I'm back, baby, and have I got a deal for you?" I just remember that. And I'm like, yeah, Don West is back. Then you had that one last time that he was on commentary later that year. What was that, for Slammiversary? And then that pretty much was it with Don West. And you definitely, if you've listened to the show long enough, you've always heard me say, man, I wonder why Don West or Mike Tenay didn't get an opportunity to, what's going on here? Did they maybe not want to do it? What was up as far as working with other promotions? And I was saying this long before AEW had came into the play and everything. And it's funny because I was telling my wife the other day, I said, putting the whole, let's not forget, before the diagnosis, Don West was a frequent guest at StarCast Weekend. Let's not forget that. Apparently, he didn't make it to the last one and all that. And respectfully, we understand why and everything now in retrospect. But, he was getting out there and everything. And I said to my wife, I said, if it wasn't for his health, now that Jeff Jarrett is in AEW, man, just give it a year, 2 years tops. Let Jeff Jarrett go in there, lay down the foundation. Bet you 8 out of 10, Don West would have been in AEW. And she's like, you think so? Like, I know so. Like, them guys, they were pretty close. And to the point, you see the post if you were on social media. And if you didn't see it, you should really go out of your way and check it out. But you see that really great, heartfelt post that Jeff Jarrett had shared, his memories of Don West and everything. Jeremy Boraz sharing some stuff as well. It was nice hearing Michael Cole show Don West some love from last Friday's SmackDown and everything. Entire wrestling community. Just, it's awesome seeing everybody come together. And look, if anything is announced as far as some type of a GoFundMe, because I know Don West and them, they did have a GoFundMe for his medical costs and all of that, but now we're talking funeral expenses and everything. So if anything is launched, I haven't heard anything yet, but if anything does happen to surface in the next coming days, week or so, I'll definitely remind you guys kindly about that. And look, I'll let you guys know right now, within reason, I will do my best to match you all that are able to contribute to the GoFundMe for the medical expenses or Kickstarter or whatever. I will definitely do my best to try to match you guys dollar for dollar, or at least half that. Just, we all definitely need to do our parts, and we usually do as a wrestling community. I mean, we you guys are great, when it comes to coming together and all of that. So we lost Don West on Friday. We weren't really able to, whether you grieve, mourn, process it that long because, then we find out about the great Barbara Walters. And you're going, holy shit, Barbara Walters. And, 93 years old. You're going, okay, it was her time. Okay, lived a nice long life, right? You're going, and, there's not much that I can echo that hasn't already been said about Barbara Walters. I can look at it from this standpoint as somebody that is a current student, studying journalism, broadcast media and everything, and somebody that has been involved in media for all these years now, right? I can tell you from this standpoint and learning what all I was able to learn from Barbara Walters over the many years, long before I started doing this whole podcasting thing and everything. It was because of people like Barbara Walters that had inspired me to, get involved with my junior high newspaper, get involved in high school, and hey, what's going on with some type of a newspaper, some type of a news flyer, radio information, things of that nature. And I'd be lying if I said, Barbara Walters definitely did not play a influence. Barbara Walters, that is a prime example of somebody that not just dealt with sexism in the broadcast media journalism industry. I mean, really stop and think about this now. She dealt with a lot of sexism. And you look at those periods, 50s, 60s, look at how women were perceived, especially from a pay scale, a lot of discrimination that was going on there. But, it wasn't just sexism that Barbara Walters was dealing with. She also was dealing with ageism as well, because it soon turned to but look, this woman's pushing 60, 70. Ain't nobody gonna care about what she has to say. This is a young person's game, and all that. So she faced a lot of diversity coming up the ranks, and she really did. I said the other day, I had picked my wife's brain on this, and I said, hun, because we grew up on vintage TV shows from back in the 60s, 70s, and all that. And I said to her, hun, is it safe to say that Barbara Walters was a real life Mary Tyler Moore and then some? And she was silent for about 30 seconds. And she said, yeah. She said, you could say that. Yeah, she definitely was, and she expanded upon my thought even more, and I'm like, yeah. But there was a lot that she had to overcome. Even one of the last acts was pretty much going into the new millennium. The show that you all know as The View. When you look up your history about that show and everything, initially a lot of naysayers, yeah, Barbara might be loaning her name out to this, but, she's so old, and, this concept, it's not really going to work. And then let's look at the time slot that we're potentially thinking about giving this show. Like, it's going to be dead in the water. This ain't going to last that long. Probably, if not a season max, maybe 2 seasons total. No way it's going to. And then all these years later, you see that The View, it's still around, still kicking ass. All of that shit and everything. So, she definitely set the table. She set the bar and everything. I was thinking about some of my favorite interviews. Like, if I were to encourage a younger viewer to go out there and do some research on Barbara Walters, 2 interviews, really 3 actually, stand out to me in my mind right now. One is from 1997. When I actually shared this one on the Facebook page too, and on Twitter. But there was one from 1997 where she interviewed the King of Pop, Michael Jackson. And they touched upon a little bit of what was going on with the sexual allegations, all that stuff. But the main focus was about the passing of Princess Diana, and Michael Jackson going over his relationship with Diana, first time that they came across each other, and how when he was performing his set, he purposely had ditch playing Dirty Diana, and Princess Diana was actually a bit hot about that. She wanted him to play that song and all that. It's a great 15-minute interview. You should definitely go out of your way, check it out. She conducted one of the last interviews with Patrick Swayze, one of my favorite all-time actors. I have a running gag going on with my wife, because she'll be so quick to bring up Roadhouse, because Roadhouse is one of her all-time favorite Patrick Swayze movies. Besides Dirty Dancing, she loves Roadhouse. And I have a ongoing rib with her that she does not know about to this very day. Whenever she brings up Roadhouse, I go, yeah, I don't particularly care for Roadhouse. And she's like, what? Yeah, well, is that movie with Terry Funk? It's like, who? Terry Funk, the hardcore wrestler. I think Terry Funk was in there, wasn't he? And she's like, yeah. It's like, yeah, I like that movie because of Terry Funk. And that's the truth, right? quietly, I actually did like Roadhouse, but I just like picking on her. That's just my way of fucking with her, basically. You know how you fellas or ladies are with your partners. You like to fuck with them from time to time. But, there's nothing much more. We definitely lost a pioneer, but she laid the foundation down. A lot of women they're in a much better place now as far as breaking into the broadcasting media journalism industry and all that. And then you look at the Pope that had died. I mean, it's almost like a game of poker, and it's like, well, this is my hand. Okay, well, this is my hand. Well, that ain't nothing. I've got this hand, and you're going, well, shit, that beats this, and that beats that. Well, shit, fuck that. I'm out. Like, can't. But Pope Benedict, the 16th? Dead at 95. I mean, he shocked the entire world. What was that, back in 2013? When he just unexpectedly had stepped down, and you're like, damn, what's going on? Where there's smoke, there's fire. You heard about the way, with him at the helm, you heard about the way he handled a lot of those molestation accusations of certain priests that was out there and everything, and how he pretty much was just turning a blind eye and all of that. Then you also hear about the fact that, you didn't learn until many years later. Well, apparently another reason why he decided to step down was because his health was in a serious decline, and he didn't think he could keep going and all of that. He thought that it would be in the best interest to, step down and everything. And but just going back, when he just unexpectedly had stepped down, for every single man that had been appointed had reached the status of Pope in 600 something years or some weird crap like that. There's some weird, ridiculous number that's out there. I know it's in the hundreds. Like, this has never, ever, ever happened before. The Pope is it's a job for life. That's it. They're set for life. They have that job until they die, basically. And this guy this holy man just stepped down. And you're like, whoa, and everything. So, funeral's going to be this Thursday. It's interesting. It's interesting because I think myself and many of you guys that might be a little bit closer to my age, maybe a few years younger, you remember when the last Pope had died, and just the week coverage, matter of fact, 2-week-long coverage that was going on with that, especially when it came to the funeral and all of that. I mean, be prepared. Be prepared, y'all. Y'all that like checking out your local news, local stations and all that. If that's not really your cup of tea, y'all might want to try to, dodge the local stations for a little bit, the cable news networks for a little bit, because these next couple of weeks, it's going to be so. And then, of course, if you're into your soccer, somebody had reminded me about this person's passing. I think it was Lightning. Shout out to Lightning via Twitter. He's like, Lee, let's not also forget, legendary soccer player, Pele. Pele had passed away as well. And you're like, wow, So going into 2023, you're just like, whoo, rap industry wise, who's that? Gangsta Boo passed away. Not sure what's the cause of her being deceased just yet. At the time that we're live on the air right now, I'm not seeing anything. But for those of you that's like, who? It was a female gangster. Her name was Gangsta Boo. Passed away at the age of 43. She actually died on New Year's Day. She was found dead in her home. Again, cause of death not known right now. But she was a female rapper and a second female member after K9 of the what was it, the 3-6 Mafia group. Yeah, she pretty much had spawned from that and everything. Give you guys full context and all that. So y'all might want to, you don't know your rap, you might want to research on that a little bit more. So kind of interesting, yeah, going into 2023 when it's all said and done. You're just kind of going, whew, what's but definitely some lighter stuff has happened. I hope you guys, on a more lighter note, your weekend. I hope it was good, despite everything that I just unloaded on you guys. Obviously, there was a lot of stuff. If you put your phone down, you disconnected from social media and all that, that's what all. And there's probably a few more things that went down that I'm not aware of that you guys are probably like, hey, this also happened too, right? You know, look, if it's got you talking, we'll talk about it here on the RCWR show. But I know just all of those things that had came about definitely had a lot of you guys, a lot of social media talking and everything. Rest in peace, rest in power to all those people and anybody else that maybe I might have missed. Thoughts, condolences, and all that. By the way, somebody do me a favor. Those of you that's tuning in live right now, whatever the platform, do me a huge favor, and I'm gonna, lighten the mood for sure. We'll talk wrestling, some other good stuff, but do me a favor, just if you got access to the internet, browse. If you could provide a update on Damar Hamlin, that would be great. That would definitely be great. Hopefully we can, end the stream with some good news as far as, hey, he's no longer in critical condition. He's now in stable. Hopefully we can hear some better news in regards to the young man. So, a lot of interesting stuff, wrestling news-wise, had went down. I know the big thing right now, people are wondering what's going on with Sasha Banks, right? That's the big one right now. Oh, man, Wrestle Kingdom, if there's ever a reason to watch Wrestle Kingdom, tell you, man, Sasha Banks, Mercedes Ronaldo, she's going to do something, man. Tell you, man, it's like, and like the entire wrestling community is just on pins and needles right now. Yeah, I'm just literally picturing the Kurt Angle walkie-talkie joint backstage. It's happening now, right? It's like, so, it's like, okay, well, if it's going to happen, it's because Fightful, after all, they did say on January 1st, hey, Mercedes Ronaldo, she's now a free agent. And you're going, well, hey, good for her, right? Good for her. And look, if you're a big fan of her work, you're going, man, hope we get to see this girl pop up somewhere, right? Everybody else is kind of like, depending on who you talk to, she's too overhyped, she's too overrated, Where do I stand in regards to that? I think she's a solid fucking wrestler. I honestly, when she goes out there and wrestles, she wrestles with passion. She wrestles with emotional context every fucking time. And I don't say that as a knock. I do not say that as a knock. I say that as a high compliment, right? And there's not that many women that can do that the way that she's able to do that and everything. So, there's that part of me that recognizes, yeah, homegirl got some serious game. She does. And then there's other times where I just go, when I look at some of the stuff with like the con events, the meet and greets, certain things like that, I see how she's operating, and it just, nah, man, you're going to have to miss me with all that. It leaves a bitter taste in the mouth. You feel what I'm saying? Oozy fruit, the juice is going to move. I was watching Botchamania earlier today. I was watching the final Botchamania, I guess, of 2022. And it's so funny because I remember some weeks back when I was hearing the whole Oozy, I'm going, Oozy fruit, the taste is gonna move ya. And sure enough, because I'm thinking to myself, that's not really gonna catch on. Like, leave it to fucking Matthew to go into the fucking relics of the past there. And he goes with the freaking Wrigley's juicy fruit joint. I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. And I marked out big time. I fucking marked out big time. Seriously, good shit. I be thinking some weird, crazy shit. And sometimes I just be wanting to send an email to Matthew and go, hey, dude, got a crazy idea for you. I don't know if you thought about this, but... And I think next time I'm going to act on my impulses. Like, particularly if I feel I have a really, really good one. In all my years that I've watched Botchamania, there's probably been maybe 5 times I've gone, oh, I got a really good idea on... Now, as far as that idea I had, and Matthew pulls the trigger, I would say 2 out of those 5 that I've thought of over the years. And it's like, oh, that was good. That was fucking good. So we got the first new WWE Raw of 2023. I did poll you guys. I asked you guys straight up, what did you think about WWE Raw. I polled you guys on Twitter and on YouTube, youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the communities tab and you'll be able to see the results after you cast your vote. But I'm looking at Twitter right now, and so far I am seeing a tie, believe it or not. This is via Twitter. I'm seeing a tie. 23% of you thumbs down, staying in the middle. Meanwhile, 53% of you are giving it a thumbs up. Now, some of you guys may be wondering, well, what's going on with that YouTube poll, Lee? Well, to YouTube we go. Survey says, and it's loading up. Wow, 100% of you guys are giving it a thumbs up. So you've heard the results, and if you got Twitter, now you decide where you want to go, where you want to cast that vote. It's up to you. Go with where you feel the majority is and everything. Thank you in advance for voting. I thought that this episode, this first new Raw of 2023, because remember, this is pretty much now officially Royal Rumble season. Okay? It's now Royal Rumble season. I thought there were a lot of areas that was pretty good and everything. But at the same time, I'm just kind of going, well, we're still a little ways away from the Royal Rumble, but we do need it to spice up just a little bit more. I was looking for a little bit more spice. I was looking for a little bit more sizzle from this first new Raw of 2023. And it didn't, don't get me wrong, folks. It didn't fall flat. It wasn't totally flat, but it was just an above average episode when it was all said and done. Nashville, Tennessee, I thought they picked the right place, right crowd to be in front of for this first live Raw of 2023. Thought they did fantastic right there. Them opening up with the Bloodline, pretty much hijacking the show at the very beginning, bullying the camera people and all that. You've got frickin' Kevin Owens coming out there, right? So look, I like the way they did this because after all, if you watch SmackDown, the last thing you saw was Kevin Owens, John Cena teaming up to take on Roman Reigns, Sammy, I was about to call him Sammy Uso, Sami Zayn. And you just knew looking at that, yeah, Sammy's going to eat this one. He's going to eat this one. And sure enough, played out exactly how you thought it would. But then you're going, oh man, well, what's going to be happening when you watch WWE Raw? How's everything going to go down when Raw opens up? Because that should be pretty spicy. Because the last thing we saw was Bloodline. Surely the first thing we see is Bloodline on Raw. And I thought that formula was perfect, the way that they build off of SmackDown going into tonight for your opener. I thought that was a great fucking move right there. And yeah, Bloodline should be out there. Minus Roman, Bloodline should be out there, pissed off, all of that good stuff. But then, Kevin Owens coming out there, ready to take the fight to them, but you've got Adam Pearce. No. This is not going to go down like this. Been watching you guys, the Bloodline, operate for far too long. Adam Pearce basically saying, nah, we're done with this. We're not going to keep doing this same old dance and repeat. Security, go in there, get these guys up out of there. And I'm looking at this, I'm going, we know this is not going to go well. We know the security detail is going to get knocked on their ass. So why not up the ante even more in storyline and have Adam Pearce say, hey, lay a hand on these guys. Not only will you all be suspended indefinitely, but you're going to be heavily fined, right? So this is what I'm thinking in real time as I'm seeing this, because it's like, okay, if you're really getting sick and tired of seeing these men come out here and storyline and they're doing all this chaos, right? What's causing all this, right? You're going to go, yeah, we're going to put an end to this right now. But then it felt kind of redeeming when Kevin Owens ran down there, not caring that it's one man against four people in the Bloodline. Yeah, he's probably going to get his ass handed to him. Okay, it is what it is. But then you pretty much have half the Raw men's locker room come out there. Yeah, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, Elias, Johnny Gargano, God, I know I'm missing some names. Elias was in there. You had a decent amount of people that were in there. Street Profits. All these guys coming out, and you're going, okay, now it's interesting. And I thought for sure maybe we were going to see some type of a tag match where Bloodline was going to face all of those guys in a handicap tag match, right? To ensure that, no, these guys need to learn a very valuable lesson here. You keep coming on the Raw brand and fuck around, right? Fuck around and find out what happens, basically, right? And no, instead, we get told by Pierce that Bloodline members are going to be put in tag matches. This is how they're going to be punished. They're going to be put in tag matches. But even at that, you're like, okay, so we're putting these guys in matches, and in one case, it's a tag match. Are we at least doing these matches in a way where, hey, there ain't going to be no fellow Bloodline interference? And if so, we kind of go back to what I just said earlier. Boom, automatic suspension, indefinitely, heavy fine. What are we going to do right here? More on that later. Women's championship match. Alexa Bliss taking on Bianca Belair. You know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing that I want to say about this match. I know at times I have been critical of Alexa Bliss, but I got to admit, what Alexa Bliss has been doing as of late, since she's been back this rodeo and everything, she has been putting in some pretty decent work. I have been exceptionally, like for me, for Professor Sanders' class of entertainment, Alexa Bliss, and for my viewing class, her grade was maybe a D, going into a D plus, and she's pretty much stayed at a D plus for a long time, and then she finally moved up to a C minus, and now she has just a solid C, sometimes a C plus, but on average, just a C. That's okay, right? As long as you pass the course, that's the important thing. And this match with Bianca Belair was decent. I thought it was decent. Okay? I would give it like this. I would put it right up there. We had a women's match. We had a women's match that was on Rampage on Friday, did we not, y'all? I believe it was Kiera Hogan taking on Jade Cargill. Now, if some of you guys were to say to me, okay, Lee, compare those two. Compare those two matches. Oh, man, the Jade Kiera Hogan, that was more enjoyable by... I mean, and I'm not sucking the AEW. I'm just giving it to you honest. Now, look, the Jade Cargill Kiera Hogan match, that ain't no A+ match now. All right, let's make sure we get that record straight. That wasn't no A+ match. That was probably it was the best Jade has looked in quite a long time in closing out 2022 as far as singles matches goes and all that. Kiera made her look like a fucking stud. Kiera making herself look good in the process as well. I would probably give that match maybe a B-, maybe a C+. So slightly better than what we got tonight between Alexa Bliss and Bianca Belair. But where they lost me, and I'm sure they probably lost a lot of you guys as well, sound off, let me know. By the way, if you've been enjoying yourself so far, go that extra mile, man. Come on, help a brother out. I want to see more engagement, and you guys are doing awesome so far. Those of you that have popped in, leaving comments, interacting, not just with me, but kind of interacting with each other as well and everything. Keep it rocking, keep it coming. But if you've been enjoying the content so far, smash the like, all that good stuff. It really helps out a ton. And subscribe. That's how you can really help a brother out. Subscribe. Going towards the end of the match. What the fuck was that? We've got Alexa Bliss doing her thing, and then all of a sudden she fucking sees some guy, and it was hilarious as hell watching this guy basically be moved up to the front of the fan section in the first row as security or whoever. Now you stand right here with this silly little Ethan Hawke mask on. What's that Ethan Hawke movie that's out right now, by the way? Because it looks like Bray Wyatt and crew were watching that movie, and I'm just picturing Bray Wyatt. Hey, man. That's what I need to do right there, man. I'll tell you what. Do a little something like that. The people will love it, man. I'm just picturing him, whatever that new movie is with Ethan Hawke. I think it's on Amazon Prime. You all know exactly what I'm talking about. And he's wearing that weird mask and he's got the black hat. I'm looking at that. I'm going, okay, was Uncle Howdy inspired by that Ethan Hawke movie? Like, what the fuck is going on here, right? But you get this weird fan that you clear as day. The fan is being moved to the front. And he's just standing there. And you've got Alexa Bliss just dazed and confused, just looking on. And oh my God, the theatrics that they use with the fucking Titantron and shit to fucking flicker the howdy doody sign and going back to Bliss. And I just thought all those bullshit theatrics was just, it left me feeling numb. It left me feeling nauseated. I didn't care for that shit. I did not care for that hokey dokey fucking. Great, you're trying to tell us that we're gonna get another version of Alexa Bliss potentially. You're trying to tell us that essentially Uncle Howdy is coming in. He's getting closer. He's getting closer and closer to zoning in on Alexa Bliss, and I guess that Bray Wyatt is going to. I don't know. I guess he's going to basically be Terminator 2. Come with me if you want to live. I guess now he's going to, but we're going to have this conflicted Alexa Bliss or whatever. The match was good, but the finish to that, it was bullshit. It was bullshit. It's just one of those things where you go, can we please just be done with this? Anything but this. Let's move past this. Bliss is moving along. She's coming along. She's getting a little better there. She's being put in some pretty good spots, but we're doing this hokey dokey bullshit. Come on, man. Come on. Elias taking on Sola Sikoa. It was a street fight. This actually went much longer than I had anticipated. This actually went about 15 minutes, and I tell you what, kudos for the way that this match was booked and having Elias come out there, not so much looking like a goddamn jobber. But when it was all said and done, he did the fucking deed to Sola Sikoa, which, you know what? Totally was okay with that when it's all said and done. I wasn't a big fan of all the weapon spots, and I wasn't quite a big fan of all that, but that's just me personally. Street Profits, Kevin Owens taking on the Bloodline next. Pretty good tag match. Street Profits, Kevin Owens going over. You know what? They established a couple of things here in a positive way. I could legit see more of the Street Profits and Kevin Owens as a trio. I legit like what I'm seeing here. I think this has a lot of potential. The other thing that was pretty good here is the fact that, wow, once again, and look, not for nothing, but you can make an argument that Bloodline kind of got the tables turned on them, and they weren't expecting it because Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, they did make an appearance. Referee a little distracted. They did, do a nice little rundown, getting in some action on the Usos there and all that, right? So you could say a numbers game definitely had played in favor for Profits and Owens, for sure. But I like the fact that, okay, Owens and Profits, yeah, can see some really entertaining segments with these guys outside the ring, something pre-produced, backstage, whatever, maybe on the microphone, saying some funny shit in front of a live crowd. Okay, yeah, this has potential. Play around with this a little bit more. The other thing that you got going on here is the fact that Sami Zayn, once again, put in a position here where he's the one that, or he's the one that's kind of like, oh man, this position that, essentially I'm being put in here. where once again my best friend is somehow in the mix of this, right? Actually, you know what? No. Bloodline won. No, I'm thinking about it now. Bloodline actually won because Owens had tried to go after it was either Sami Zayn or Solo Sikoa, and Zayn had connected with a Halua kick on Ford. Yeah, on Ford, and that got the pinfall. So Sami Zayn definitely rebounding pretty good here, all things considered. Because honestly, there's just really no way you could have Sami Zayn eat another pinfall or submission, because then definitely you're going into that next SmackDown. You're thinking Roman's probably going to do a little bit of retaliation here, or something along those lines, right? So I liked how we did this here. I think it was a nice move to have Ford be the upset, all things considered, earlier in the show and everything, because you could also make that argument that yeah, because I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to think as far as the order in what had went down, because Bianca Belair and that match previously against Alexa Bliss, remember, you had that happen beforehand. And see, we didn't even talk about that. We didn't even talk about post-match, because Alexa Bliss kept having her little schizophrenic little whatever. She at one point did not one but like 2 DDTs of Bianca Belair onto some steel steps. And I tell you what, man, the blood, boy, that was just, they put it on a little too heavy. My girl looked like, Bianca that is, my girl looked like she had a bunch of A1 steak sauce all on her face. I just wanted to take some fucking steak from the fucking refrigerator, heat it up real quick, get a knife. I need some A1 sauce. Hey, Bianca, come here a second. Give me that face. Yeah, there we go. That's what I needed. Thank you. Yeah, you may leave me now. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do, because you got to go back and you see it. I shared a picture on social media, and it just looked like A1 steak sauce was all on her face and shit, right? It looked way too over the top. It just looked way too comical. They take a commercial break, but when they come back, you see Montez Ford. He's actually helping his wife, and okay, we're getting that nod. Hey, they are, right? Okay, we've known this. We know that they are a couple and all of that, but this is the first time in quite a while that we have seen the two of them at the same time sharing the same space on WWE TV and all that. So I thought it was a nice touch, because looking at the implications of, okay, where is Montez Ford's headspace at right now? So you could easily look at that tag match later on, Profits, Owens, Bloodline. Oh man, Ford being the one. You could easily, Ford, his head, his head, his heart wasn't all in the right place, because he obviously was thinking about his woman and that. So I thought the way that this was laid out was actually pretty good, all things considered. Some really good stuff between all the respective parties involved. Of course, we get the update on AJ Styles. In case you missed it, AJ Styles last week at a WWE live event, he injured his ankle. Now, luckily, he is not going to need surgery. He just pretty much has to stay off his feet for a bit. So I would imagine, maybe a 6 to 7 week rehabilitation, something along those lines is probably what's going to be going on. It's a broken ankle. Again, not going to need surgery, but it is a broken ankle, so he's going to have to heal up for a little bit. He pretty much confirmed that he will be missing the Royal Rumble, so it's unfortunate, but, it is what it is. Chad Gable taking on Dexter Lumis. Lumis picking up the win here. Sucks what's going on with my man Chad Gable, because it seemed as though at one point Chad Gable was really going up stock-wise. Just everything was just going up. Everything. And now it's just a situation where, damn, what's going on with this guy? Because I don't know if you all felt the same way looking at Chad Gable within the previous months, but it seemed as though Chad Gable, and look, if y'all don't feel that way, it's totally okay. But for me, it really felt as though Chad Gable was starting to get to that trajectory of Kurt Angle. and you're like, man, this guy, like pretty soon you're going, okay, he's really gonna start to break out, and you're going, man, WWE, they're about to hit something really, really special here with Chad Gable. He's about to have a serious breakout moment. And it just feels like whatever was starting to build up, that, oh shit, we gotta back off because this isn't what we, no. It almost kind of feels like that. And it just kind of makes you wonder if like certain old people that had stepped down last year are maybe getting on the phone and, hey man, what you doing with that short motherfucker on my TV, man? You're giving him too many cool opportunities there, right? But this match, I didn't care for it. I honestly, I could have done without this match when it was all said and done. I think the way that they could redeem Chad Gable, because they've scaled back dramatically. Go back to having him be so fucking obnoxious. Amplify it even more, all we're going with is the one-hit wonder shoosh. It's like, nah, man, let's do more than just that. Let's do more than just that. Let's crank up the annoyance level. Let's go back to the Kurt Angle playbook and all that shit, and let's really fucking go there. Get a video on Cody Rhodes' return last year at the Rumble and everything, talking about the injury. Pretty much, they were telling this story. You kind of, okay, must be Cody Rhodes season. Cody must maybe be making his return at the Rumble. Maybe that's exactly what's going to be happening here. And I tell you what, Cody does appear. Cody needs to be the one to win it. Damage Control out there. Bayley brings up the fact that her team, which pretty much had started at SummerSlam, pretty much they've kind of like been on the road. They address Becky Lynch and everything. Bayley beat Becky Lynch. This pretty much brings out Becky to tell Bayley to shut up and all that. Turns into a handicap match. Becky Lynch taking on Damage Control. Non-title matchup and everything. Mishin. Is it Mishin or Mishan? I'm just going to call her Mia Yim. Mia Yim getting involved in there in the final moments of this matchup. She pretty much was able to cause nice little interference in there that pretty much had set up Sky to hit over the moonsault. And that pretty much was the end of that. It got good towards the end there. I will be honest with you guys. It got good towards the end. Mia Yim in there. Look, if you want to do Mia Yim and Becky, I'm okay with that. I think that would definitely work out pretty good. I don't quite know if Becky and Bayley, I don't quite know if we should continue to go down that respected rabbit hole, all things considered. We really got to jazz up the hell out of Damage Control already. I mean, from one drizzling segment there with Alexa Bliss, and then we go, and already just by association with Damage Control, already that luster of, hey, the man, Becky Lynch, coming back and everything, it's already losing that. We just kind of need to break this up already for all intents and purposes. We get a recap of Dominic being arrested on Christmas Eve. By the way, shout out to you guys. Y'all been like blowing up the show page on Facebook. I remember when I first came across the video, I'm like, yo, this is too fucking funny. And I shared it on the show page, and it's just, I've been posting more and more on the Facebook page, and it's been getting much more engagement. Been at it now for like almost 2 months, and it's cool interacting with some of the folks, kicking back, seeing what some of the people are saying. Like, y'all are wild. Y'all are fucking crazy on the Facebook. I gotta tell you, y'all are fucking wild and crazy. I love it. I love it. For my mental health and all of that, I love seeing what you guys are doing on the Facebook, because I was telling Tams this the other day, and I said, some of the stuff that I see on social media, it's just so toxic. And we're in a day and age right now where, unfortunately, when some people perceive something to be one way, rather than, reach out and ask for clarification, we're in a day and age right now where it kind of seems like nobody really doesn't want to deal with conflict. Nobody doesn't really want to deal with having a discussion. It feels so combative, and as a result of that, it can be toxic at times. And I was telling wifey this, and I actually scaled back on some of the stuff that I do as far as social media goes. I scaled back. I know. I gotta tell you guys, I was a moderator before the end of 2022 was out. I was a moderator for quite a few forums and a moderator for quite a few discords. And for my mental stability, I said, man, I can't, like, it's getting to me health wise, and right down to the point, my doctor, my optometrist, because I had recently got my eyes checked and everything, and my optometrist had said to me, okay, the prescription that we gave you, like almost a year and a half ago, she's like, the prescription that we gave you for your eyes, it seems to be holding up kind of good, but I'm just a little bit concerned with your diabetes and all that. I'm just a little bit concerned about what all you do throughout the day, face always being buried in devices and stuff. And she told me straight up. She said, look, going into the new year. She said this to me some weeks back, but she said, look, going into the new year, do what you can to really scale back on always having your face glued to these devices. It's like, even if you're blowing up the font size and all of that, like, you're still putting a lot of strain on your eyes. And she even said, because she knows what I major in and all that, and she knows about the diabetes and all that, and she's like, I would imagine that you have a lot of mood swings at times, depending. I said, yeah. She's like, yeah, that could be unhealthy. Scale back. So that's what I did. That's what I did with the last of what I was doing for some Discord servers and for some forums. I pretty much just said, and I let them know. I said, look, it's nothing personal. Just honest, I've been thinking about scaling back anyway. Like, I'm just gonna roll. It's like I'll still pop up. I'll still say hello. All that's like, but I don't want all these unnecessary responsibilities. Like, it's my health. I'm getting up there in age. I mean, it's like my health is first before anything else. But so I've scaled back. But where I haven't scaled back, because I like seeing the interactions, the engagement, and all, the Facebook. That's pretty much where I'm at these days. It's interesting too. I was talking to people about what's been going on with Twitter. I don't know if you guys have been peeping it out, but some of us are kind of debating about it. We think it's so Twitter. They did this new thing where you can now see the views of, like, a post or a tweet that you put out there, right? You can now see the views. You couldn't see that before. All you had was likes, retweets, comments. Now you're able to see views. And I was saying out in the open on Twitter, I said, this is a really cool thing that Elon Musk's Twitter and crew have decided to put out there, because as someone that is a social media campaign manager, not just for my podcast page, but also, for the Twitter, and with the work that I was doing behind the scenes, helping out some people, it's like, wow, this is actually a really cool feature. Now you can really see what's working, what's not really working, strategize, all that good shit and everything. And it's been cool, man. It's been really fucking cool. But yeah, I've loved scaling back. I'm trying to figure out how we had got on that subject, because somehow it all links back when it's all said and done. It's live, pal. This is how the show works sometimes. Forgive me. Sometimes, once in a blue moon, I'll get sidetracked with a little something, something. But I know there was a reason. I remember how we got on the subject now. Because the Dominic Mysterio video from Christmas, and when I shared it on Facebook, the engagements, the interactions, that's how we got on that. See, it all links. It may sound like, we can go around the block a couple of times. We're going off the path, but eventually we always get back on the main path to our final destination. Do we not? We usually bring it back. Video package on Bronson Reed. No Bronson Reed tonight. There was no Bronson Reed. There was no Bobby Lashley. There's quite a few people missing from this new WWE Raw of 2023. U.S. title match, Austin Theory taking on Seth Rollins. This is pretty much what had closed out Monday Night Raw for tonight. Theory retaining. You had some shenanigans go down there where the first referee inadvertently got bumped, so he pretty much was taken out, so that like he got shot and was down for the count. Another referee comes out there smiling his ass off, running into the ring, big old smile on his face as he's counting. Like, why are you smiling, dude? Kick out. So Seth Rollins, I think, was trying to go for the pedigree. I believe Theory was able to kind of push out of that and push Rollins into the second ref. Second ref almost got hit. He pretty much was covering, don't hit me. It's kind of like, don't hit me, I'm little. It's kind of like one of those type of deals. Seth Rollins turning around there. I think Rollins might have connected with a pedigree, but there was a kick out, and then something else went down. Referee, don't hit me, or some weird shit. And the next thing you know, Austin Theory, low blows, Rollins, A-Town down, boom. That pretty much was it. Austin Theory, still your United States champion. Got to give this match a lot of props for the way it was set up. Felt like a big main event feel. It felt like you were watching a match here of great importance, especially since they gave this match a lot of time. They gave this match almost 25 minutes when it's all said and done. I think Theory and Rollins have worked extremely, extremely well together. And of all the Leestradamus joints that I've had, of all the goddamn Lee, way to look into the crystal ball. You go back to the infamous AwesomeCon panel that I co-hosted, June of last year in 2022. And I specifically talked about Seth Rollins and Theory working together. And to fast forward to where we are now, I think they are doing exceptionally, exceptionally fantastic work with one another here. I'm curious where we're going to continue to go with Theory and all that. Are we trying to set up something here where we're trying to do something big with Theory at the Rumble? Is the trajectory still Cody Rhodes doing something with Seth Rollins, or are we maybe going to do something potentially with Cody being involved with both of these men? Because remember, Cody still has to get the big payback there on Rollins and everything. So, what exactly is going to... It's interesting because I remember a while back I had mentioned, hey, Cody, he's going to be back any time now. Do you maybe do something there where put the U.S. title back on Rollins and Cody kind of... or is this a case where no need to do that. Let's just have Cody. And it's interesting seeing some of the rumors that's going on there in regards to Cody, because hearing some stuff about could be Cody and Roman pretty much for WrestleMania, or it could be Cody and John Cena at WrestleMania. There's a lot of stuff that is up in the air right now, and it would definitely be nice to sit down here and play Dream Booker for a minute or two and everything. But, honestly, I hope that Cody comes back at the Rumble, wins it. I want to see him main event WrestleMania. I literally want to see this guy pick up pretty much where he left off. That's just me personally. But look, when it's all said and done, when you really look at that main event match for Raw tonight, that's really what had tremendously propelled the show overall as a whole. Because take that match out, you're looking at a below average Raw, and then just adding that one match in, it just definitely made all the difference. I like how you had the build up into every single one of these matches, by the way, that was laid out. Everything, it continues. WWE with the Triple H Paul Levesque regime, it continues to be on point. There is structure. There is reasoning for what all you're seeing play out on the TV and everything. Honestly, if I were to look at one or two matches where I'm going, you know what, this was, honestly, I could have done without this. Elias and who was that again? Elias and I'm trying to think who was the other guy. Let me go back. Elias and Solo Sikoa, wasn't it? I probably could have done without that. For sure, I definitely could have done without Dexter Lumis and Chad Gable. But other than that, a relatively decent show for all intents and purposes, man. For real. Definitely a decent show. One more time, let's go to the polls. Let's see what you guys are saying here. So once again on Twitter, at the RCWR Show. Got you guys saying the following here. Still the same. Still the same. Well, no, it changed. It changed. It changed. All right, so now I am seeing 21% of you are giving Raw a thumbs down. 28% of you are giving it a staying in the middle. Meanwhile, 50% of you are giving the show a thumbs up. Appreciate those of you that voted via Twitter. Meanwhile, to YouTube, click on the Communities tab. Got an additional vote since last I brought up the poll, and it is staying strong. It is maintaining 100% thumbs up. So you've heard those results. Appreciate those of you that voted, however you voted, whether it was Twitter or YouTube. Appreciate you guys that stepped up, represented, and voted. Love you guys. You hear the results. If you want to continue to let your voice be heard, maybe even want to throw a little comment in there, because I know some of you guys will check out the shows for on demand and on the downloads. You can definitely sound off, and I will definitely do my best to. So my goal in 2023 is this. If you get and this is my promise to you guys, depending on the time of day, what exactly I'm doing, if you leave a comment, I'm going to make sure that I heart, like, all that stuff. So that's letting you know I read your shit. But I'm going to make it be my business to follow up the same day that I like, heart, and all that. If I can't do it right there in one take, I'm going to follow up the same day, and I'm going to comment on what you posted. So, it's kind of something new I want to, make sure that I stay on top of in 2023 and everything, because a lot of you guys be making some really good comments, a lot of good points and everything. And then there's some of you guys that I know are longtime listeners, and some of you guys got some personal stuff that's going on. And for instance, I definitely want to show some love to. I kept meaning to respond, but I kept getting sidetracked with some stuff. That's life sometimes. Shout out to longtime listener Rick Paisley, who I know Rick definitely appreciated what I had to say there about Don West and everything. But it was a post that I had shared on the Communities tab. It had to do with Impact Wrestling and everything. And he had apologized towards the end of his post. This is out in the open, so it's not like I'm sharing something that's very insensitive. But he had said, hey, I still love the show. I'm still representing. I'm still checking out. Sorry I've been quiet, for so long, but I'm still here. I'm still checking out the shows. Much love to you. Continue to be blessed, all that. So it was like, okay, hey, nice to see you're still at it. Nice to see you're still around. Good, that's good and everything. But, represent, like, nobody said you gotta always be mute. You can always jump out there and say a little something, especially if you disagree on some of the stuff that's brought up on the show and all that. You should definitely let your voice be heard for sure. All right, a couple of little things we can get into on the show. By the way, programming note: Wednesday, yeah, we're going to be doing an all-new AEW Dynamite. And I tell you what, that's going to be a AEW Dynamite. I'll poll you guys on Tuesday. I feel like we should do a live watch-along since it's going to be the first new Dynamite of 2023, and we're going to get new graphics, probably a new intro, all of that. So I'll put a poll up on Twitter and on YouTube asking you guys what's up. But I know for sure there's going to be an AEW Dynamite post show. There's a load of AEW wrestling news related stuff I definitely want to get into on the Wednesday show. Yeah, a lot of stuff we need to get into. I definitely want to get into the Tay and Sammy stuff, all of that. Speaking of AEW, I see the card for this week's Dark Elevation. Dark Order take on Ryan Nemeth and Chaos Project. Meanwhile, Sheeta faces Tyra Rusami. Meanwhile, Athena goes one-on-one against Gypsy Mac. Leva Bates makes a rare wrestling match appearance against Julia Hart. Meanwhile, Jeff Jarrett, for you Jeff Jarrett fans out there, you Slapnuts fans out there, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal are in a tag match against Justin Andrews and Ryzen. Or is it Risen? I think it's Ryzen. Meanwhile, House of Black. You got the House of Black on AEW Dark? What the fuck, dude? Anyway, House of Black take on Hagani Shino, Rosario Grillo, and Dean Alexander. Varsity Athletes take on the Pillars of Destiny. Isaiah Cassidy and Matt Hardy. By the way, shout out to Marq Quen. Matt Hardy did confirm that Marq Quen is out on injury right now, and Marq Quen commented, I don't think it was a cryptic message, but pretty much he let it be known he's probably not going to be back until August. Maybe I'm talking out of terms there, but he did mention the month of August. So I would like to believe maybe he's going to be back a lot sooner than that, but just kind of have that in the back of your head. But Matt Hardy did confirm that Marq Quen is out on injury right now, and that's why he's been teaming with Isaiah Cassidy. And, not for nothing, but to Tony Khan's point, if you remember from one of the many gazillion freaking interviews that he had gave within recent months, that's interesting. Hang on a second here, guys. No, you guys are good. Okay, that's weird. For some reason, I'm seeing one of my chat bots has resurfaced, and I'm trying to understand what's going on there. Anyway, but in one of the interviews that Tony Khan gave, he said something along the lines of, and you guys know exactly which interview I'm talking about and the part I'm getting ready to mention, but how, hey, they have certain story arcs that they have in mind, and unfortunately when an injury happens, it can just, right, because they had all these plans, they had a few months worth of storyline plans, and now like they don't know what to do, and obviously because of Marq Quen and everything. Remember the story arc that we had that was in place was Andrade and Rush. They had acquired the contracts of Matt Hardy and Private Party. They now work for them. And we know Andrade, we ain't seen him since, so it's pretty much all on Rush and Jose the assistant, right? But now that you've got Marq Quen injured, you've been watching what's been happening on AEW programming as of late. It's almost as if they just have completely abandoned that story arc with the Hardys and all that. Like the last thing I can recall was about, what would you say, guys? Maybe almost 3 weeks ago when we had that $300,000 Battle Royal thingamajigga. And yeah, it's pretty much been ice cold since then. So I actually might watch Dark Elevation just to see what's going on as far as like potential story arcs go and all that. Continuations, something new, whatever. Meanwhile, Oh, I didn't finish that, by the way. Isaiah Cassidy and Matt Hardy. Tag team match against Manny Lemons. What the fuck kind of name is that? Manny Lemons. And Atiba. Meanwhile, Marina Shafir. You know her. No, you don't know her. You know her. You don't know her. Well, in any case, Lilith Grimm. That's your card for this week's AEW Dark Elevation. So check that out when you guys get an opportunity. As we all know, Dragon Lee has signed with WWE. He's going to be a part of the NXT roster. This had created some major headlines here, man. Dave Meltzer had went into details about the situation, and he noted that the deal with Lee apparently was made several weeks ago, but it was kept secret until the AAA Noche de Night of Champions. There you go. Like when you can't pronounce it, just skip over it. But that was interesting to see how that had played out and how Lee grabbed the microphone afterwards to make the announcement that he was going to WWE, and pretty much as a result of that, he and Jalistico gave up the AAA belts that they took off of FTR. Right? They coughed the belt. They basically vacated the titles after Dragon Lee makes the announcement. And you're looking at this and you're kind of going, well, all things considered, why the fuck didn't we just leave the belts on FTR? Like, if Tony Khan knew about Dragon Lee going to WWE and everything, like, why the fuck didn't, like, why couldn't we, or did Tony Khan and crew really not have a say anymore? And this was a case where AAA just said, yeah, you know what, all things considered, yeah, we just want to take these titles off. No, it's cool. We're good. Because remember, Tay, Sammy, right? We'll talk a lot more about them on the Wednesday show, but just kind of have in the back of your head right now that Conan, right? A lot of pull there in AAA and all that, Booker and all of that shit. He pretty much got the ball rolling, and he was the one that pulled the trigger to say, okay, you know what? Just take these titles off of Sammy and Tay. Like, fuck this shit. Right? We'll get into all of that a lot more on the Wednesday show, since that's more AEW oriented there. But, you're kind of looking at that, scratching your head. And I will say this much. With everything that's going on with WWE doing these things with New Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah, and God knows who else, you want to make sure that if you're Tony Khan and AEW, you want to make sure that the relationships that you currently have intact right now with other wrestling promotions, you want to make sure those continue to remain very healthy, that they continue to thrive, and any type of exclusive idity. I can't pronounce it. Y'all know what I'm trying to say though. Anything that you can do to, let's make this be exclusive. Let's make this just be you and us here, right? Anything that you can do to get one step closer to, nah, we're the only ones here, right? Yeah, we know you want to give Pepsi to all, but we need to be the official sponsor. Just us. We want to be the official sponsor, right? You got to do what you can and everything, but this definitely does not look good when it's all said and done. It definitely does not look good. So I had asked you guys earlier if y'all could do me a huge solid, and if you could share an update. And sometimes social media can be a little funky, but I am doing my best to stay on top of the comments. I'm not seeing you guys sharing any new updates. So as far as I can tell, and I don't think you guys are commenting because nothing new has transpired since last we had talked about Damar Hamlin, but it looks as though his condition remains the same. I am just checking right now in real time on social media to see. Oh, wow. So as of 18 minutes ago, wow, you have Bengals and Bills fans that have gathered outside the UC Medical Center for Damar Hamlin. There's no further update right now, no word right now. Looks like when it's all said and done, maybe tomorrow will hear something, but I'm literally looking at a video that was posted just about 18 minutes ago. So this is as real as it gets right now. Bunch of fans standing outside the UC Medical Hospital, and God bless those fans. Seriously, God bless those fans. And see a lot of Bengals fans that's in the house. That is, talk about solidarity. A lot of Bengals fans, because remember he plays for the Bills, but there's a lot of Bengals fans that I'm seeing here going out of their way to represent. That is a beautiful, heartwarming, touching thing to see. Bengals fans, you guys are truly the fucking best. Seriously, truly the fucking best. And I tell you what, man, whether you have stopped watching football for a significant period of time or not, just you hear that, like I said, if you're gonna go out of your way to watch the footage, I did my best to basically share, because I compiled 2 videos on the Facebook page. I shared one where the initial hit and all that goes down, and then there's another video that I spliced in where you got the ambulance truck out there and, the players are crying and all that. If you got a strong stomach and you just want to get an idea, because I promise you, when you guys, some of you that are going to be going back to school, possibly this week, or those of you that's going to be returning to work, now that the holidays are pretty much out the way and everything, this is going to be a topic. So, if you want to try to prepare yourself so you know what the heck, if you got the strong stomach for it, go ahead, check it out and everything, but be prepared. It's definitely pulls your strings, your emotional strings when you watch it. But definitely as you get ready to go to bed tonight, just close your eyes. Even if you're not a religious person, just close your eyes and just say, hey, to the powers that be, hey, that young man, that young Damar Hamlin, for his family, for him. I was saying this to Tams, and I said, man, the hit didn't look like it was, because we watched the hit from different angles. I rewinded and everything. Like, didn't look like it was that. And then for him to just drop on the ground after a few seconds, and Tam, she pointed it out. She said, yo, rewind that. I'm like, huh? She's like, rewind that. I'm like, okay. And she's like, he shook for a couple of seconds there after dropping to the ground. Well, seizure like. I'm like, huh? She's like, yeah. I'm like, you sure? Like, yeah, rewind. I watch it back, and sure enough, there was a little bit of gyration that was going on there. And you're like, whew. And I said to her, and we both were thinking the same thing, which was, yo, if he comes out of this, his playing career as we know it. Look. I know it's too early, but it's just something to kind of have in the back of your head, and it's for very good reason. If he is able to pull through this, you can't help but wonder. One, okay, was this like CTE related? Or two, was there some type of underlining condition, health condition that was going on with him that sadly was not diagnosed? It was just somehow missed. It somehow kind of went undetected, and it came to surface now. And, as a result, what does it mean for his future in the league? What does it mean as far as him playing football, period? Right? I'm not telling you guys to think about that right now. Obviously, the man's health and well-being, all that is, but that's definitely something you kind of need to have in the back of your head. And there's nothing wrong with thinking that way, because, again, when you first watch it and you see him get hit, you're going, oh, yeah, in real time, you're going, oh, yeah, he should be okay. And then when you, wait, what's going on here? What did I miss? And you're rewinding back, and you're trying to make sense. You're trying to rationalize, what possibly. And those were the respective conclusions that we had came to. But I'm praying for that young man. Seriously, I'm praying for that young man. Y'all should definitely pray for that young man as well. Let's see. Going to the rest of you guys' comments real quick here. Shout out to Guna. Once again, shout out to Kadeem. Shout out to Kelton. Shout out to, am I seeing anything else here? I don't think I'm missing anybody else. Shout out, you guys know who you are. I know there's a decent amount of you guys that tune in. You'll be quiet, all that, when you're watching live and all that. So you guys know exactly who you are. Let's stick a fork in it. We're at about the 1 hour, 50-minute mark. So let's say this show is done. I'm now getting in the habit of scheduling these shows. So if you guys are never sure when the next time an episode is supposed to be dropping and all that, definitely the day of, several hours, I'm like scheduling the shows now. So depending on where you are, YouTube or Facebook, you'll start seeing events that are scheduled and all that. So just the start of many good things to come for this new calendar year, right? That's how we're doing it. Be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR Show. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use the keywords the RCWR Show. Most active on the Twitter and the Facebook. Do the Facebook first and then go ahead, do the Twitter. And if you're waiting for the audio version of this, give me, honestly, because the best part I love about now being able to schedule these events ahead of time, I'm able to get all my tagging out the way and everything so that I don't have to worry about the web stream. The only thing I have to do with the web stream now is just add the timestamps with the chapters, and that's pretty much it. But as far as the audio version goes for the show, I've got some energy in me. I actually don't mind working on the audio version right now. So give me about 30 to 40 minutes. And in that time frame, I will be working on rendering the audio version. And I will put it up freaking ASAP for you guys. Okay? But that is going to do it one more time. If you enjoyed this episode, can't stress it enough, hit the like, man. Seriously, it's free. Don't cost you a thing. Hit the like, smash it, subscribe, leave your comments. I want to know what did you guys that's going to be watching or listening to this on demand and on the downloads, what did you guys think about this first Raw of 2023? If you want to talk a little football or a number of the stuff that was touched upon, feel free to sound off, especially if you guys are going to be checking out the webcast version and you're going to see the timestamp with the chapters. You could jump right to. Let me definitely know. Definitely let me know what you thought about some of the stuff that we had touched upon on this show. Until next go round, wishing all of you all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Take care, y'all. Peace.